seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that?
Why should I put up with that?
Double done. Don't back down. Double done.
Yes.
Yes, lads!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bhoycie bus has revved up. We have got three big characters, and myself, who's a bit like Tim Henman, as you all know. A bit of a goldfish personality, me. But what a bus we have in store. We have got from Canada, live and back, the punk duck warlord. The man.
Right, boys.
Come on, mate.
Liam, so good to have you back on, mate, and thank you. I know it's 9:15 a.m. where you are. That can sense. I was watching. I don't know if you can see me. Well, the music credits are playing at the start. But I can see all you guys and how you reacted to it. And Punk Duck Warlord was doing a lot of head bop and a lot of movement. He was enjoying life, and I love that. How about you, Liam?
Yes.
Good to have you on.
Let's tune in the podcast world, Russell.
You know it, mate. You know it. Regan Stevenson, you are maybe the most excitable junk boy in Celtic land right now. But it's brilliant, mate, because it makes a change from it being me. How you doing?
Celtic are the champions, mate. Celtic are the champions. That's what the game I was worried about. Celtic are the champions.
It was a big worry today. But see, the thing is, beyond Regan's exuberance, there is a lot to be said for what he's saying, because today was the banana skin game. Wasn't it, Regan?
Yeah, I mean, next week Celtic will beat Rangers and we're the champions. We are going to be the champions, and we are fucking you played Richard Russell, and we are going to be the champions. So Rangers can enjoy themselves, win the Scottish Cup, and we can win the league.
It's too good. And as always, for a bit of balance on post-match pitch, we brought in a regular now. He's now on his magnificent 7.
The main man, Bill McGinley!
Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah, part of the furniture now, mate. I'm one of the bus seats now, mate. That's what I am. It's good to be on. Good to be on, mate.
Regan, Dan Monstero, where you are, mate? I don't know where you are. It looks like you're in, I don't know. Is that like, what is it called in Robin Hood? Sheriff Forest or whatever it's called? Sherwood Forest. I don't know where he is.
Bhoycie, can I just say, you might need to check your mic. You sound like you're underwater. Everyone else sounds okay. A couple of comments coming up on the right-hand side saying that.
I don't know why that is, because it's definitely the mic I'm using. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Ah.
Apologies. I might be a
There we
wee
go.
bit now. Is that much better?
Yes. Yes,
Sorry
indeed.
about that. Sorry about that. I've hit the wrong button at the beginning. Apologies. Do you know what? Fucking who cares, eh? Apologies, but am I sounding better now? Let me
Aye.
know.
Yeah, well, good, mate.
It sounds like
Aye.
you're talking to an empty tin of beans, mate. I love that. I love that. At least, do you know what, Liam? See when they tell me I sound shite. They don't.
You sound good, mate. You sound good.
They don't. They
Aye,
don't
you
hold
sound
any
great.
ears again. They don't go gentle around it, Liam. They just go, mate. You sound like a bag of shite. You know what I mean? I like that.
Aye.
I'm going to come to a man in Canada first. Liam, we go into this game today. Malky Mackay's team, I think, weren't there to be. I don't think they were a team of falsies. I think, you see what I did there? I don't think they were a team of falsies. I think they weren't a team to be bounced around. I thought they were a team that right now, in 5th place in the league, were a threat. I think they were the banana skin out the first 5 matches. You lose today, and I kept saying, if we were to drop points today, that leads on to a psychology for the next game. Do you know what I mean? It leads on, psychology-wise, it all can then have a negative effect on how we approach the Rangers game. We played today in amongst a carnival atmosphere, by the way, created by the supporters from before kickoff right through. That first half display to me was a team that generally just went off. Do you know what? We've reflected and now removed last week. Now it's all about that title. I've seen a team that has got absolutely their foot down, pedal to the metal, outstanding, Liam. We're going to win the league, mate.
I think it was so important for us to get that first goal early as well. Ross County, they came into a game. They're not a team you can push around. And they challenged us at first. They came in, they flew in some really heavy tackling and started a physical presence on the game as well. And I think it shook a wee bit of our players at first, but then we started moving the ball around. Some of our one-touch passing, those wee flicks and spins and all that we were doing in the midfield, that really tore them apart. And then they just looked like big daft boys rushing in, And second half, I think they got maybe a control of the game, but I liked the way we played the first half, and I think Kyogo, one of the runs that he had into space as well, where Jota found him with a ball, the one where they called for offside, that was a cracking run, and for them to see that space, I was hoping to see more of that, but look good, just happy,
I know. And you know what? You've raised an interesting point. Now, I am not one to be wanting to be conspiracy theorist daft, guys. I'm really not. And if you're on mute, by the way, don't worry. I will unmute you when you come in. It's going to make the debate easier, right? So don't take any offence to it, right? I'm not muting you in a bad way. I'm just thinking of the optics, because right now we're flying on Spotify as well. It's going really well. The podcast side of it is really just a Bhoycie bonus, if you like, because it's meant to be a YouTube channel, really, because where'd you get hair like this? So the Pumped Up Warlords, you know what I mean? In any other podcast, you don't get characters like this. But sometimes audio is your thing, and because of that, I'm trying to be a wee bit cleverer with the sound, albeit it sounded like I was singing into a tin of beans, as Scott Howe so nicely put it, which I take on the chin, by the way, because that's kind of good patter. Now, what I was going to pick up on, though, Liam, that what you said is very interesting. I'm going to come to Phil first on this. Now, Phil, very interesting point you raised was about the flying tackles. Now, we looked quite petty, I felt, blaming it on the ref last week, but no one blamed Celtic getting beat on the referee. What we said is we got beat. However, can we look at the referee's performance as well? No, you're not allowed to do that, because that means you're making excuses. Bullshit. What happened today was O'Callaghan followed Lundstrom's lead, tried to do the exact same type of display, tried to fly in with tackles, and the referee, after 8-9 minutes, gives him a yellow card. And guess what? The flow of the opposition, it was that stem of flow was completely stopped. It completely changed how he had to play the rest of his match. That is the difference we're talking about. No one's saying they went to VAR. No one's saying Celtic got beat because of a referee. But those two examples are so striking in how that influenced the game. Yes or no?
I agree totally. That was that tackle on Anthony Ralston quite early, and also was one on McGregor. It's I said it earlier on when I was on with Regan doing the Sunday Blair. I talked about how last week showed that it seems you can get away with quite meaty tackles on Celtic players. So it's good to see that it was stamped out pretty quickly. And you're right, their game plan would have been, we'll just get stuck into them because they don't like getting roughed up. You put a booking down early, that changes the whole flow of the game. But I mean, that Ralston one was absolute abysmal tackle, and the way that Callahan was like snarling after it and stuff, I was just looking at him going, "Oh, you seem like a right horrible bastard, you do." But yeah, it was a brutal challenge, and once that was there, as I agree with what Liam said, the way we were passing it about, it's not even hyperbole to say this, but that game was honestly like 2-0 going on about 9-0. I felt we were dominant from start to finish, and it was great to see because it's all well and good just getting the points at this stage, but when you can put in like a dominant performance as well, it shows that we're not taking the foot off the gas. We're not going to do that in this running. No,
absolutely
definitely
not.
No.
It's very exciting times, but it is. I do believe that Celtic, Rangers didn't want us to get in a flow. Ross County didn't want us to get a flow. Neither of them played by the rules. One time it was implemented the rules, one time it wasn't. You see the chalk and cheese. And I think it did change Ross County's mindset. And again, I don't want to pander to always being about refs, but the stark contrast and Kevin Clancy pulling out an early yellow card for what was a yellow card booking, and you look at Lundstrom's fouls and no yellow card, I'm sorry, it does have an impact in the game. It's not being paranoid and it's not making excuses. Live in a world of facts. Now, the most excitable boy in the history of the podcast world I'm going to come to now, Regan Stevenson. Have we won the league?
We have won the league, so I mean, next week we can just enjoy the party, we can get a draw, so 6 points clear, and we're absolutely fantastic. I mean, Celtic, today we should have been 2-0 up in the first half, but we didn't do too well. I want to ask Phil a question. Phil, see in terms of Kyogo, what do you think it was with Kyogo? Because he missed a few chances. Do you think it was just shortness, or do you think it was in terms of I'm not playing that as much as Kyogo's used to?
Do you know? I don't think it was either, because if you remember right, in the first half of the season, there was a wee bit of sometimes you can miss a few sitters here and there. Sometimes a wee bit of composure's needed, and I think the one in particular where the keeper spills it and he's running in on the follow-up and he just hits it right back at the keeper, and it's like, just a bit of composure, just pick a side, But it was also shown as well, I believe the goal he scored that got disallowed for offside wasn't offside. So, but no, I mean the goal he scored though, it just leaps like a salmon. And we were talking about the physical presence, Giakoumakis, being that big target man. Kyogo, the leap that he got on that for, the size of the boy, incredible. So
was the goal that Kyogo scored not offside then?
No, it looked very close, because there was also a Maeda offside in the second half that was quite clearly on as well. Okay. So there were a few debatable ones, but he was there in the right place at the right time. But again, at the start of the season, we did see a few elements where Kyogo can sometimes snatch at things. Just a wee bit of composure needed sometimes, but overall, you can't really fault him. So, fair play to the wee man.
I think.
I want to ask you guys about one more thing, and that was Tony Nelson. I thought Tony done well today, apart from a few tackles that was put against him.
He was superb.
Yep. I think we're going to come to Liam on that one, because I think you're absolutely right, Regan, in what you're saying there. I thought the display by Ralston, I would have picked Ralston in front of Juranovic for this type of match anyway, Liam. I don't know about you.
Aye.
I'm actually beginning to lean towards, and I put in the WhatsApp group chat, which I'm unable to find your number, mate, to add you on it. I don't know. Remember he'd had a couple of +4 fours or something. But I want you in the bus group chat. But see, just quickly on Ralston, genuinely, I put in the group chat today, I know this is an unpopular opinion, and I'm not trying to be controversial for the sake of it. I think he's the better right back. I genuinely do. And it's not me trying to say it for, and don't get me wrong, of course it opens a can of worms and it opens a good debate. I think I would pick him ahead of Juranovic any game.
I think so as well. I've always been a big
Wow.
fan of Ralston. You know, I think he had some of the balls he put across today were brilliant. There was nobody getting on it. He takes that, he stretches their fullbacks right to the line, and we were talking about that in the pub the day when I was watching it this morning, and the way he can swing is like the way he gets his hip over the ball. It looks like he's lost it, and he still manages to get it in and swing it in. So his balance is really good. I really like him on that.
See his first cross. See very early, I think it was in the first couple of minutes, and their goalkeeper was flapping that it might have went in at the back post. And he's I went, look at that delivery. I'm sorry, if that's Juranovic, we're all, enthusing over it way more than Ralston gets the credit for. Ralston numbers are better. And always remember on this pod as well, see if I say I've got a preferred player, it's not a dig at the other one that I'm saying I prefer. It's really not. This is the competition. I'm going to throw one at you, Liam. I believe that the Juranovic signing has inspired Tony Ralston. Albeit, remember, Ralston in the summer only got a 1-year deal, which was rectified very quickly into the season, by the way, on a longer-term one. But it was only on a 1-year deal at the beginning of the season. I also think the arrival of a Croatian international, 26 years old, by the way, peak sort of age for modern football to get a player of that quality and that repute. I think he's pushed Ralston on to the next level. That's credit to Juranovic. Imagine an equivalent of that in the other fullback position. That doesn't mean Greg Taylor needs to become number 2, by the way. It means this is what you see when you have healthy competition for a place, doesn't it?
I think that helps the team all the other part. And you're right. I think I like Juranovic as well. I think he's a great player. I mean, they're one of the first teams to qualify for the World Cup, Croatia. So, I think having that sort of person to train with and watch and all that, and I think Ralston's got all the tools. I always thought he did. I never really seen him play a really bad game where you could say, Ralston lost his arm. I mean, Starfelt had a couple of really dodgy games at the beginning where he scored in his own net and all that. And I think if that was Ralston, he'd be getting pillared, But I think I'm so glad he's turned it around and he's made it. Just looks like a nice, big, likeable guy as well. He goes in to tackles hard. He's a bit of muscle in the team as well. He does really well defensively with headers,
He's got Liam.
I like that. I think we need a wee bit of ruggedness than what.
Yeah, Liam, I think you're nailing it. You're nailing it. I think sometimes we don't want to accept the mucky waters we play in, is the SPFL. And I love it, by the way, for its ruggedness at times. I like the soul that the Scottish League has, right? But I also think that means out your 11 players, you can't have 11 technicians. You need to have one or two that have what I would call the streak. And the streak is they just have that ability. Do you know who proved today, yet again, in my opinion, he has the most underestimated streak, Liam? Kyogo. Kyogo loves getting a foul, mate. See, when he gets booted up and down, I think he just goes, you'll not beat me that way. I actually think he has got that. Obviously, with Giakoumakis, I know Alan Robertson, by the way, has been in the comments saying, where's the Giakoumakis love? This boss has a lot of Giakoumakis love. I'm going to come to Regan on this one, okay? Now, Regan, Giakoumakis only comes off the bench, but Kyogo, who scores the first goal, you were having an amazing chat with Phil, who's funnily enough on the show again today. What about the contribution from both these forwards? Can you imagine
I want to ask you guys a question. I think that Kyogo has improved because of Giakoumakis. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is what I'm trying to say, Regan. This is what I'm trying to say about competition, healthy competition for positions. But what I begin to think is, I think Giakoumakis, seeing Kyogo's absence, and maybe there's a bit of fortune there, but maybe there was a bit of fortune in Kyogo being a number 9 earlier on this season because of Giakoumakis' injury, as I'm not convinced Kyogo was signed as to be Celtic's number 9. I'm really not. But do you think, Regan, now you're looking at two guys that are so in form, are so pivotal to Celtic's results? First half of the season, all on Kyogo. Second half of the season, a huge part contributed by Giakoumakis. Is the argument, Regan, getting stronger to see them both up top? And Celtic actually, for the first time in a long time, play two forwards.
Yeah, I mean, me and Vol spoke about it at 11:30 that Giakoumakis is a very good striker and obviously a very good player, but in terms of Kyogo, I think Kyogo just shows his impact when he goes on the park. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, I think Kyogo can go to the very top. I think Kyogo, after Celtic, he's going to the English Premier League. I think he's that good. I want to ask Paul something. In terms of next week, who do you play?
Love Phil, eh? You love Phil, eh? He's your favourite guy in the world, isn't he?
Yeah, in terms of next week, Paul, who do you play? Do you play Giakoumakis or do you play Kyogo?
Oh man, like you put me in the spot here because last week in the post-mortem that we had over the game, I brought it up when I said May the 1st comes around, you've got both men fit, who would you play? Giakoumakis, Kyogo. I leaned to Giakoumakis at the time, but today, now I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm genuinely, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. And I also feel that, see, the word competition, it shouldn't be treated as like, you know, oh, they're really not a hatred. I don't think hatred is the word, but they'll be learning off each other as well. I said that earlier on about the Ralston and Juranovic thing. Even though like they're competing for the same spot, they play the same position. You know, we've got one who is an established Croatian international. The things that he'll also be teaching Ralston, you know, just like from his experience of playing like international level and stuff, be phenomenal. And the same with like guys in other positions like Kyogo and Giakoumakis, they'll be learning off each other as well. But see, next week, I don't even know now, and there's no point in even trying to second guess Ange anymore. Like, I don't even know what he'll do next week.
Yeah, I don't know if this is controversial, but I think Ange will go with Giakoumakis because in the 3-0 victory, Giakoumakis played very well.
It's after last week as well, and showing that
I think Brown Warrior is now singing from the same spreadsheet, as Charlie Nicholas would say, singing for the same spreadsheet as me. And I think, see if you're in Dreamland next week, Liam, I'll come to you, mate. I think that front three is the one. Now, Jota today, though, goal and an assist, he shut a lot of people up. Cream always rises to the top. Suddenly, he'll now be talking about, see, 6.8 million for Jota. To me, it's fuck all. It's Diddy money, right, in the modern day, Liam, right? Diddy money. Aye. We paid 6 million for Chris Sutton 22 years ago, right? 22 years ago. That record, that transfer record was only broken in 2018 by signing Odsonne Edouard for £9 million. So an 18-year transfer record length. No club that's forward-thinking and innovative and trying to be progressive, that's the word I was looking for, have 18 years stagnation in their transfer fee record being broke. It just doesn't happen. However, I genuinely think, by the way, still sign Jota, but I think out the four, in fact, the five when you include Abada, but I think his dream front three, if everyone's on fire, everyone's all in form, would be Maeda, Kyogo with Giakoumakis. What do you make of that?
I think so as well. I mean, Giakoumakis made that goal. That was that chaos you talk about. That ball, Abada did really, really well at controlling the ball, getting it into him. He done well pushing it front and then cutting it back. But that was another one of the 50-50 balls in the box that just comes like a magnet to Big Chaos's foot. And he got in there and he dove in hard, and it was that came off the crossbar, and you know that should have went in as well. But I love him.
Liam, he's so impulsive, mate. He's so impulsive, though. That's why me and you like him, because you're a very creative person, right? I know a bit about your life, right? And you are a creative man. And I think you need to have a bit of weirdness in you to be creative, right? And I think Giakoumakis had a bit of weirdness in him. Do you know, you're right? Like, he's got elements of, I know I've done the Henrik Larsson anticipation comparison, but their style of play is completely different. I just thought the anticipation for that pass back was Larsson-esque. Do you know he's got that maverick bit about him? It's a bit like Sammy. Right. Remember when Sammy became, because Sammy was signed by Strachan, right? And Sammy started unbelievably and then faded. And then Neil Lennon seemed to somehow understand his psyche, understand his mindset and got Sammy to go to levels in Europe, particularly in Europe, or against them, where you knew Samurai stepped up. I think Giakoumakis has that kind of... See when he was like taking his top off, getting like ready to come on, I felt that kind of like, do you know that fucking like, he's fucking at it, this big man, you know? He's got a maverickness about him. I think you miss characters like that in modern football, don't you?
I love it. I think you need that. You needed, like, you know, when I was growing up, it was like a big Joe Jordan, you know, as somebody played for Scotland, had that a bit of bite to him. I think there's something about Giakoumakis that's good. I read that he's Romani. You know, he's Greek Romani.
Ah, okay.
And you know, and even that in itself, there's a certain bunch of swagger that he has at that. You can see it coming for that culture as well. And I'm so glad that we signed him. I was really excited when I thought we were getting a player like that for the Dutch league that had done so well. It's like, okay, that's something seems a wee bit off, but you know, maybe he had problems with the coach, but he seems to be a brilliant professional. Other than him just picking up a few injuries, he's been fantastic. Everything we've asked done. And he really helped us when Kyogo was it. And what you said earlier about they two driving each other on, I'd love to see them both in the same team. You know, fits as a defender trying to figure out where the other one is, you know. You've got one that's fighting for
Liam,
and then the other. Yeah.
Liam, I think when Rangers have only been asked this question, right, and I'm going to come to Regan on this because I know he loves all this sort of shit, right? He loves the battles, right? I think it's funny, the difference Giakoumakis, the number of questions he asked, 2 centre-halves on his own, right? 2 centre-halves on his own, Goldson and whoever the other one was, right? And Giakoumakis was there. He was there, like, literally there, a stereotypical nightmare because he was the unknown. He's a box of tricks. He's a Tyson Fury-esque sort of player, Giakoumakis. He's got that sort of thing. He's unpredictable, right? But can back it up with quality and a track record of 7 goals clear. He was in the Eredivisie as the top scorer. 7 goals clear. The second top scorer joins Dortmund for €40 million. We get Giakoumakis for €2.6 million and he's called fourth choice. Oh, come on. Hey, by the way, that's award-winning opinion. Now, what I would say, Regan, is imagine if Goldson and whether it be Balogun or Bhoycie centre-half or whoever the other is, Helander, do you imagine the two of them dealing with both Kyogo and Giakoumakis and we just take that wee hit in the middle of the park but go a wee bit more direct? I think they'd be shitting themselves, Regan. What do you think?
I do think that Giakoumakis should play next week. Sorry for the fact that we played 3-0 and it was Giakoumakis that played. And also the fact that Balogun is not playing. And Tavernier, I think Tavernier, he got away with it last year when Rangers played in front of no crowds. And Russell, you have to remember that Celtic are a very formidable team under Postecoglou. I mean, even today when they played 0-0, they still never going to score goals. I think Giakoumakis can offer that different dimension. I think he's a fantastic player. I mean, as I said to Phil earlier, Giakoumakis was worth £12 million. Celtic got for £2 million. And if you're supposed to Postecoglou next week, surely you play him next week ahead of Kyogo. Then you've got Kyogo.
Why does it need to be ahead of Kyogo?
Because I think Ange will play one up top, and I think Giakoumakis will play up top. But as Phil said before, I don't know if Ange is Kyogo's his go-to player, maybe.
Up front, my genuine belief is Ange had a strategy in the summer, guys, right? And obviously he was trying, Phil, right, to identify what areas of the team need. He was trying to build a structure of this team, right? I am convinced, Phil, that Giakoumakis, see when you think about it, when was the last time a Scottish club could get a Dutch top flight, top scorer, miles clear top scorer, brought to the club, and then them not be fourth choice or whatever you want to say, coming off the bench sort of player? No. He was signed to be the number one striker. Kyogo, as Ange calls him, was never an out-and-out number 9 in Japan, where Ange watched him at first hand. I think, though, watching Kyogo do the job he did at number 9, there is now a conundrum. Because whatever Ange's original plan is, and I still stand by, if Ange plays this formation that he clearly favours, you're looking at the pressing, the two best pressers in the team are Kyogo and Maeda, right?
Yep.
He knows them, he gets them, he knows what they bring, and his focal point will always be Gigi. But I would love to see, you know, two wingers, Jota, Maeda, and Giakoumakis and Kyogo up there, and sacrifice O'Reilly or Rogic. Still have McGregor and or Hatate, whoever, or Turnbull, whoever it may be. Do you know what I mean? I think that would excite the fans to see that, particularly a home game. Say we do win the title next weekend, we're going to have 3 games, Phil. We can take a risk, shall we say, or mix it up a bit. And imagine leaving the opposition with more questions going into the summer than what there was when we actually lifted the trophy. Wouldn't that be clever?
Oh, it'd be class. Are you having a Kevin Keegan moment where you would love it? Absolutely love it.
I would love it.
It's like I said earlier on when me and Regan were having a wee Sunday blare, and at first I didn't see earlier on in the season. It was yourself. You began talking about this was the idea all along, and as time has went on, now I'm starting to think, that is it. Kyogo, Maeda, and Giakoumakis, big target man in the middle, because you're right about the press. That is always key to how Ange wants to play. And just thinking about Kyogo and Maeda, just, you know, chasing down defenders and goalkeepers when they're dwelling on the ball.
It's terrifying, mate. Terrifying. Did you see the link up? Sorry, very quickly to come in, because I'm going to stick with you right now, Phil. The link up at one point in that first half is Maeda and Kyogo. First time we've seen it really in chemistry, and I went, fuck. That is a joke. Now, we were all excited about that possibility. I think you then throw Giakoumakis into that mix. It's a nightmare.
Even the game against St Johnstone, I mentioned it earlier on, that wee crumb that we got, that wee morsel where it was the 50-yard pass that Kyogo just picked it up in the centre circle and pinged it to Maeda, and it was just so well how he picked him out. He literally turns on the ball and just fires it. Maeda's in the right place, controls it brilliantly, and Abadan ends up scoring the goal. So that gave us a wee sort of preview of it. And again, today you just watched the link-up play. And also just going to Giakoumakis, just to hammer home a point from when I was on earlier, I'd said, people think big man, be a big clog, a big target man, but he's very, very gifted with his feet. And a lot of the balls into him are not just, we'll just lump a high ball in. A lot of it's into feet. He holds the ball up, waits for a midfield runner, gets a run in behind. So he's actually more than just a very one-dimensional or a big clogger up front. So, no, the future's very exciting. If that's going to be the front three, then add to that, you've still got Abada and potentially Jota next season. The options that I've seen. Russell, you're muted, mate.
Thank you for that, Phil. I've unmuted Liam. I've not unmuted myself. No, it's Phil. But Liam, the thing is, right, we had a viewer on Kevin Layden today who was at some sort of speakers night or Celtic sort of type event, and Michael Nicholson was there. So the word around the campfire is Michael Nicholson was literally live over a mic said deals for both CCV and Jota are close, right? So that was an exclusive we got on the bus earlier. And, we're not ITK. We can't be like, other little fellas. We are very much, winging it a lot of the time, But that was information we got literally today in the comments. You've got to take it at face value. He was at the do. And he says, Michael Nicholson was there, and he says deals are close for both. What we need to take the conversation into is Kyogo, for me, see when he scored that header, I messaged his troops. I put it on Twitter. He is my player of the year still, Liam. I don't care if he's been 4 months out. And I know, by the way, this, again, isn't a diss at the other contenders for it. But I think what that little fella did in the first half of this season was a team in adaptation that he seemed to adapt to quicker than almost everyone else, right? I see when Celtic needed him, he answered the question. And see, even that League Cup final as well. Don't forget that. Add that to the mix. Then he comes back, his first start after 4 months out. And today was the banana skin game, as Regan called it at the start of the show. This was the one. You went, if we lose this, that can lead into the next games. That can let it fester, that there's maybe doubt. Kyogo after 11 minutes. He started this league title push, Liam. He'll finish it.
Right. By the way, can we talk about that header? The technique in that was brilliant. The way he hung in the air, I've seen people say it before, Larsson-esque. You know,
Who cares? It's true.
The power he had that header with. There was no hoping it would go in or like just get it on net. He picked that corner and just bulleted it right in there. And that's great to see. I love to see my strikers doing that. And that's not where I thought he would be dangerous, you know, up in the air. You know, they're big boys in that Ross County team, and he managed to get in about them and, you know, take that goal. It's fantastic. I think, yeah, he is a player of the year. I think just the threat of him going on and next week against them, I think he'll give them fits now, you know, and I think he's got a wee bit more confidence now as well.
Do you think he's due? Do you not think he's due it as well? He's due it. They think he's shite. They think he played in the wing the first game at uninterested Olsen Edward up top, right? He then comes on after 4 months out as a sub, which is difficult to catch up with the pace of the game as a sub. I think you start him against them and he goes, oh, this, and again, to be Larsson-esque, like he did when he went down and played against Blackburn, Liverpool stuff, and he went, you doubted me, you little fuckers. Don't doubt me. And I think, do you know what folk forget with Kyogo as well? He's not the same age group as the rest. See all the rest, Ideguchi, Atate, and Maeda are all 23, 24. Kyogo's 28 this year. Or is he just 27? Something like that. But a very good age, more maturity, I think. And there was a clip, right? Not a clip, it was like watching it live. There was a segment where the fans are all singing, we've got Abada on the wing, we've got Kyogo doing his thing. And the camera zoomed in on Kyogo, who's walking back, and see the smirk. He's trying to fight it, right? He's trying to fight it, but this is just a guy loving life. See what they always say about boxers? A happy boxer is a scary boxer. Because see if they're happy and relaxed, they're at their best. See last night by Tyson Fury. See a happy Kyogo, loving life Kyogo is a scary Kyogo. Going to come to Regan now. Regan, Kyogo's performance, particularly first half today, I think sent the shockwaves back around the league that the best player in the SPFL is back to see what he started. He's here to see it off, isn't he?
Yeah, I just want to ask you guys, in terms of Celtic Rangers next week, do you think that Kyogo can be a vital part? Because obviously Russell's touched on there about Kyogo not being the fear factor that Rangers think, but 6 points ahead and Rangers need to win. Surely Kyogo comes into the thinking now. The Rangers need to win and Kyogo's have a big problem in terms of that.
Listen, Regan, I think it's a great point, and I'll go straight to Phil on it because, Phil, for me, it's undoubted that Kyogo will start against Rangers, right? He started today ahead of Giakoumakis. Do I think he'll start ahead of Giakoumakis at Celtic Park? I'm not convinced. I think this is where you start seeing this competition for team places all up for grabs, and you start seeing the benefit of this, and you start going, now we can have a bit of fun. Because see, at the end of the day, there is zero pressure on Celtic next weekend. They've got another 3 games to win 1, right?
Yep.
After the Rangers game, 3 more games to win 1. It's that simple, right? Yep. This is out their hands. Not just out their hands, it's out their hands by a fucking country mile. You know? Right? And I think Celtic going to that, and if you're Ange Postecoglou, you go, let's have some fun with this. You play them both, don't you? And do you know what, Ange? I know you watch the bus because you made a bus reference to Simon Ferry on Open Goal, right? In fact, he made 2 in one interview. So I've now decided Ange watches the bus. So listen to me, Ange. We want to see them both, don't we, Phil?
We do, mate. I mean, it's a good point that Regan raises about, like, they've got to come and try to win next week. Like, if Rangers were coming with a game plan of they'll try and stodge it up, kick us around, maybe try and get a draw, that's not good to them. That's literally no good. So they will have to come and try and attack. And I don't know if that's their thing, because last week it was a case of they stopped us by just basically roughing us up in the middle of the park. But now they've got to come and attack, which will open up spaces at the back. And then you're talking about guys like Kyogo and Maeda, and even guys like Jota and Abada, who can also play a part in that pace, getting in behind against a team that's going to have to push forward and open up. It's quite a terrifying thought for them. Again, I'm still very much on the fence about the whole who is going to start. Are both of them going to start? I don't want to say with you. Well, earlier on, a good example. Me and Regan, we waxed lyrical about how we thought Giakoumakis was going to start. He didn't even bloody start at the end.
I know.
There's no point even trying to second guess Ange anymore. There really isn't, because you just don't know what he's going to do. And again, we'll just see next Sunday. We'll just find out when the team comes out. Be a lot of speculation in the run up to it, but it's exciting. It's really, really exciting, mate.
Liam, I'll come to you, mate, because the thing is, that is what Ange is now. Ange has now got all the aces, right? He's still got 4 aces. He's got about 20 aces now, And it's amazing what can happen when you get allowed to have a transfer window of your own, right? Now, the summer transfer window wasn't an all-Ange Postecoglou production. The January one was, right? The January window was an Ange Postecoglou production. This summer is going to be the biggest window that Ange has, and it will be a full Ange Postecoglou production, which should be whetting the appetite of every fan, by the way. Because see the competition we're talking about, the round for places, fuck me, this is nothing on what I think he sees Celtic taking it to. But for me, Giakoumakis not starting today, I agree with Phil. It was a bit of a surprise. Him coming off the bench, I thought he had a huge impact, like you said earlier, Liam. I totally agree with that. But the best way to do this against them, start them both. The problem now is Jota, who I think unfairly was becoming this target for fans, because you just seem to have a player that we're not, that isn't flavour of the month for some reason. It needs to be like, we've got the hunt with. And Jota was maybe unfairly tagged at. Months Aberdeen he'd been out of form for. Months. I think that was a wee bit extreme. And I think now you've seen Jota today, a goal and assist. That's the mentality this guy's got. He's there to shut people up as well. I want guys like that. But how does he fit in? If you are starting Kyogo and Giakoumakis next Sunday, and if he's not starting, it's a big call. If he is starting, the bigger call means you've chosen Kyogo or Giakoumakis. Like, obviously, assuming Ange will play the same formation as he normally does.
I think I said it last game when we played Rangers. I was expecting a big game for Jota. His contract's on the table. We're talking about like he's close to being signed. I think he's got to step up and he's got to do it against Rangers. And I think that will fully seal the contract. And I think if he comes in and he has a great game against it, doesn't have to score, but if he starts stretching them and giving them fits, like let them chase him, I think he'll give them fits back there. Against Tavernier, I think he's definitely on a game. Just going back to Kyogo for a wee minute.
Please do.
He said earlier that Iniesta said he made the perfect number 10. Do you think that's a way to get him into the team so he can play with Giakoumakis and play him as a number 10, just in that role?
I think.
Did we have the midfield to accomplish that?
I think there's a lot of weight in what you're saying there. I think Kyogo showed us a wee glimpse of it in that 7-0 win. Remember when he picked the ball up for his big through ball? When he went over the top and it was clear. And again, it showed as well chemistry with Maeda and him. They've never played in the same team before, by the way. Maybe trained in the same Japanese squad maybe once or something, but they've never actually played in the same J-League team. And it's like J-League All-Stars that Andrew's trying to put together as well a wee bit now. There's 4 arrived. Aye, I'm all for it, by the way. If you've got knowledge of a league, never be shy to use it. But I think you seen a glimpse of that Kyogo goes, oh no, you all need to watch out. See, the right wingers need to watch out. Left wingers need to watch out. Georges has to watch out. Tom Rogic, Matt O'Reilly, you need to watch out. Because either way, I'm getting that first 11. And I'll be the one trusted. I'm a game changer. I'm a match winner. And Kyogo has to be in that first 11. He is the best player, in my opinion, in Scotland. He is my player of the year. And I got ridiculed. Someone came in the comments and said, worst call since Giakoumakis being accused of being 4th choice on the other pod. I don't mind being called out, by the way, for debate, because I'm actually all for it. But what I will say, and I stand by, today he proved to me he is the game changer. He transformed a Celtic team needing someone who could on their own do what he did. As this team was growing, they were in a transgressional period. They were adapting to their environment, adapting to the surroundings, learning what it meant that defeats aren't acceptable. Kyogo was the game changer that first half of the season. He dragged what I felt was a really a team in its infancy, shall we say. Now he's rejoining a team that's in their stride. And I think you're seeing, funnily enough, he could keep up with that, not a problem with him.
I'm looking forward to this summer transfer window to see who, if Ange brings anybody else into Japan. You know, do you think that's a lot as far as Japanese players go, or do you think Ange still maybe has an eye on a left back or another striker? You know, it'd be good to see. I mean, they don't have to be Japanese. There's a lot of players playing in that league, for different countries, Brazilians and all that as well. And so you might have an eye on somebody else there. And, and I think what Kyogo did with the other Japanese players was he let them settle, because he became an avatar for us when our team didn't have any identity. At the beginning of the season, we lost guys, right? And, he become right away, like, just hit the ground running. That, all right, these Japanese boys that we're bringing in, they're good. And, we gave the three that came in at, the new year, they got a lot of praise right away, and they hit the ground running because I think the fans had confidence in them, and we had trust in Ange, by what we got. And I think Kyogo was the one that did all that work for them,
Well, I'm going to tell you something as well, Liam, that I was thinking about today when I was watching the game, because I don't like to be all cheesy in that. See the Celtic support today, Phil? Fucking unbelievable today. See, 15 minutes before the game, see the two manager interviews. I was listening to, because I'm not that convinced by our TV coverage, right? So I listened to BBC Sports Sound in the build up to kick-off. And the two interviews Rob McLean does with the managers, all you can hear is Celtic fans in full voice. That first half was like a carnival atmosphere today. But do you know what? I was maybe having a wee cheesy moment when I was watching the game. But I mean it. Celtic have managed I've never seen a disparity between a board and a fan base like what we had this summer, only last summer, right? Literally every day a banner held by 16 fans or whatever, 99 days, 100 days, got to 106, I believe, right? And then a manager was appointed. Now, see when that happens, you're thinking this couldn't be further like away from each other as what you could ever imagine in your life. The epitome of the unity, right, that Celtic have found under Ange, and the togetherness that Celtic are as a club. To me, the imagery of that will always be Kyogo's smile. I think that is my lasting image. He is the reflection of the unity that's been brought. Is his smile that defines how somehow Ange has brought this club, the team, and a fan base together against all odds, and it's all perfectly encapsulated in the smile, that warm smile of little Kyogo Furuhashi. I know I'm being cheesy, but you know what? I don't fucking care. It's the truth.
Quite right, Russell, mate. Quite right. It's just the Ange effect, isn't it? He's just got us all on the same page. I mean, after that defeat last week, under another manager, another regime, it could have easily went the other way and they could have got on top of them. But I think last week there was a sort of determination. As much as Rangers fans wanted us to have a meltdown and, we didn't win the treble. Oh, heaven forbid we didn't win a treble this year, but we're still on for a league and a cup double. And a lot of fans had that attitude when I was on P.M.P last week, and I had the same, that attitude. I was like, look, it was a bad result, but we'll bounce back for this. And when we win the title this season, we'll look back on it being a good season. And I think the fans went up to Dingwall today with that mentality. It's like, we're not going to let last week define our season. We're going to, from the off, we're going to show our support to this team and to this manager and show to the greater, the wider scope of Scottish football that, we're top of the league and we're going to remind you of it. So they were fantastic from start to finish. And say it just, right from the very get-go of the game today, we were on the front foot, and I think that did play a part in it as well. No doubt.
Yeah, Phil, that's great points. And another funny point about this season, which it's easy to associate certain things with seasons, Liam, right? And now, obviously, as I say, you're a bit of an artist and all that, right? Now, I always remember, see the 2010-11 season, Lenny's first as full-time boss. I know folk don't want to look at him even remotely fondly now, but they need to get over that shit, right? See that first season when he was wearing gloves in April with a shaved head, right? I was like, he looks insane. And I thought it was great. And it was an exciting Celtic team he built then. Really exciting. You know, P.M.P, the little tiger in midfield, Joe Ledley, who we should never realistically have been able to sign. Such were the other interest in him. Gary Hooper coming for Scunthorpe, 2.4 million. Izagiri being Roberto Carlos's clone. It was a wonderful, like, that team was really, and I always think of that season, if we'd won the league, that would have been the just can't get enough season, right?
Aye.
That is like, when we won 3-0 against them in the January, you really felt that song came to the fore. This year, Liam, we've got to congratulate some of this younger fan base, probably in the Green Brigade. I don't know where they're from. But let's be honest, the people who tend to dictate what sort of fan songs we do, Liam, right, are youngsters, younger people. Which one of them has the Carpenter's greatest hits? Because that song is absolutely iconic. It is an incredible chant.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think we've always been ahead of that. I've seen so many, because I watch so much other football teams, the amount of time they copy our songs. I mean, they were singing that in England after we sang it, and we were saying just can't get enough in that. And I think that's going to be our secret weapon, not secret weapon, but I think that will be in our favour next week as well. Going by that crowd that you've seen today in Dingwall, you know, when we get back to Paradise and next Sunday, I think that crowd is going to be bumping because nobody thought we'd have been there this year. I mean, we all hoped it. You know, you go into every season think you're going to win, but what they did this year, the players and, you know, even the backroom staff as well, everybody, that team that they put together just looks like you said it. It looks like a happy team. You know, I love Big Joe Hart. I think all these great signings coming. I think it's going to be like a beach ball Sunday. You know, I think we're going to. I really hope we get an early lead and we get a chance to go. You hear the crowd, and who knows? Maybe we'll start a new song on Sunday. You know.
Totally. But I think if Sunday goes that, let's say like that 3-0 day did in January 2011, right? And you thought, fucking hell. Remember, like, Hooper nutmegged Davy Weir and he made him look like 100 years old before he scored. You went, the tide is turning here. I was gutted that we never won the league that year because we were so much better than them, in my opinion. Walter Smith just had to know how to hang in there. And fair play to him, by the way. But see, when you look at this season, I just think if we were to do another 3-0 win, that top of the league looking down on the Rangers, that will become, you know, folklore. That song will take on you. I felt it today a wee bit. You know, I really see where the drums are going with it. I'm going, it's amazing that the Celtic support are so creative with stuff like that as well. I love it. And whoever these kids are that are listening to Carpenter's greatest hits, good taste. I'm impressed. And it beats trying to replicate Scooter songs, you bastards, you know. Well done. Now,
what is it, these things? Is it Neil Diamond or something? Penny Arcade or something?
Yeah, Roy Orbison. Roy Orbison. But listen, see when you talk about football songs, Liam, I think folk need to remember this is the only club in the history of the world that have an 80s power ballad banned from being able to do the first verse because they cannot miss an F the Pope and F the IRA in the middle of it. In the middle of lyrics in an 80s power ballad. That is the levels. They've had to edit for their own fans' sake. They have to start that song now with the intro music and then cut it to the chorus because they can't trust their own fans to bring bigotry into a Tina Turner song. If you don't tell me that is a different mindset, then I don't know what is. Brilliant turnout on the bus today. There's 121 watching live. How many of you guys have hit the like button? I don't know, but please do because it does help the channel.
Even though the subliminal messaging is covered in the top corner of that side, hit that like and subscribe.
Please do hit the like button at the very least because it does get, like, see if someone just jumps on their YouTube, it's more likely for the Bhoycie bus to appear. And the more passengers, the better, Liam. As you know, even all the way in Canada, big man, makes no odds to us, does it? This bus picks up anyone.
Some bus pass I've got.
So the bus.
Used it in Bulgaria and Canada. Good. It's good, the bus.
You love it, mate. Now, guys, obviously, we're on a bit of a high this season. This weekend, shall we say, in terms of there's 4 games to go. We need to drop points in 3 out the next 4. What could stand in Celtic's way? In my opinion, without being over thinking about it, the only thing that could stop Celtic winning this league now is Celtic. Phil, I'll come to you first.
I agree on that. We are literally could, and even at that, I don't think it would happen. But and you know, for argument's sake, the only thing, you're right, that can stop us is ourselves. Because even if we were to, for example, lose next week to Rangers, I mean, with the 3 games that we've got left after that, 2 of them are at home against Motherwell, Hearts, and we've got an away trip to Dundee United, where we've went up to Tannadice this season and scudded them every time we went up there. So I wouldn't be too worried about anything. So it would be like an injury crisis, some crazy late season injury crisis to happen to derail this team now. I can't see anything really stopping us at this stage.
No, me neither. I agree with that. Now, I'm being educated here that apparently this Carpenter's song was way back under Martin O'Neill. I don't remember it under Martin O'Neill. But Philip DeMarco, you must be a lot older than me, Philip. Only joking, mate. Only joking. But no, I genuinely can't remember that under Martin O'Neill. Remember the Baha Men cover? Remember when Who's Valharan scored in the last minute against? Yes. I can't remember who, but it was who kept the you know who's out. Who's? That was all good. What do you see being able to stand in Celtic's way now, Liam? What can stop us from winning this league? There's 4 games left. The egg timer is running out of sand. There's no way out here. Surely they are in a vice. They cannot get out of the opposition. And next week, we're going to turn the screw that bit firmer.
Well, remember, they've won nothing. They're in a semi-final in Europe, and they're in a final in Hearts, against Hearts. And Hearts could very well beat them, especially if they go on if they hit a form, if they lose the next couple of games, including us. You know, they're a fragile team, mind-wise. They don't look mentally sharp. You know, so I think I don't think we're in any danger of losing them. Been around long enough to see when you think you've got a chance and when there's no chance. And if I was one of them right now, you know, they even if we get a draw, they're out, you know, and so they have to open up against us, and that just suits us. And even if we don't do it next week, we'll do it the following week. This is Ange's team. This is a good team, and we've got loads of players fighting for places to be on that pitch. 4 games left in this team. You want to be playing all the time, and we've got a lot of good boys hungry and ready to come on. So, we'll win this.
Yeah, I think so, mate. And you know what? I seen I think it was a tweet, and they were putting crazy parallels. Now, both of you guys are of an age where you'll remember this season, the 97-98 campaign.
It was me that sent it in the Bhoycie bus chat.
Was
it's
it?
Amazing, isn't it?
No offence, by the way. Generally I couldn't remember where I got it from. Aye. But there was a lot of parallels between the Wim Jansen season and the Ange Postecoglou season. Phil, do you want to remind the viewers of what several of them are, or you forget them as well?
I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I'll try my best to recap them.
Right on the spot.
Okay, so first of all, we'd the summer in '97, Rangers had won 9 in a row, which equaled our record. So we look at last summer, we were going for 10 in a row. We blew it. So both seasons we had our ego bruised essentially. You know, we'd lost a record and failed to get a record. You had a manager. Well, we had 2 legends. Tommy Burns was in charge in '97. He got sacked. Neil Lennon was Celtic manager last season. He got
sacked.
Legend.
Yep.
Yeah, and a legend. So 2 legends. And then you had a manager comes in from the Japanese league that none of us have heard of, Wim Jansen, Postecoglou. When Jansen came in, you had players like Cadetti, Di Canio, big name players that wanted out. And Postecoglou comes in, you've got guys like Agia, Edward, Christie, they all want out, so he's got to deal with all that. He's got to scramble together a team. We started this season losing 3 of the first 6 games. In 97-98, we lost our first 2 league games, but somehow we still kept Rangers just within arm's reach. We won the League Cup back then as well. We went on to win the league.
That's right.
And we did. And Rangers lost the Scottish Cup final that season to Heart of Midlothian. And Rangers are playing Hearts. And that's good. And also the top three that season ended Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. And currently that looks like it's going to be the top three because Hearts are literally the only team in the top six right now that have nothing to play for. They can't finish second. They won't finish fourth. So they are definitely going to finish third. But yeah, the parallels are scary when you actually put them side by side.
Even the scorelines
yes,
that
we
look
lost
at
the
that.
semi-final. That's right. We lost the semi-final to Rangers that season as well. Mental.
It is. It's the parallels are unbelievable. The one parallel though, Liam, that we're going to round off on this, but the one parallel that cannot remain is that our wonderful manager, a unique manager, does the same as what Wim Jansen did after a season of success. He just, at all costs, cannot be afforded to be allowed to leave. Secondly, in my opinion, and I'm going to stand by a point I made a month ago, he's not allowed to remain in a rolling contract anymore either. This now has to be cemented on a long-term deal. Has to be.
I think best piece of business we'll do this summer is getting Ange on a longer contract. I don't like the
CCVs and Jotas, if they don't get over the line, will not have the same impact as not getting Ange Postecoglou on a long-term deal. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on. Sorry, mate.
We talked about this before in the Double Doon show a couple of weeks ago, me and Russell as well, but I was telling you how I felt when Jansen left after that season. I was gutted. And it came about that it was all about the board and, stuff that was behind the scenes. So there's nothing anybody could put a finger on it. And it was, before the heightened approach to social media and that as well. So it just came out of nowhere and we were staggered. And that's the one thing I'm always just a wee bit, when you say who's going to beat us, our board was just as bad as any other club we play against. I wouldn't put it on. I wouldn't put it at the back then doing something daft or stupid or thinking, oh well, we've got this sorted again, because they're great at clapping themselves on the back when they think they've got it right, and then disappearing when they get it wrong. So I'm really hoping that maybe there's a change. Maybe now that this is seeping through the club and it's going up the way as well into the boardrooms as well, that hey, we've got something special that we're ready to start right now. And it's integral to keep Ange keep Ange happy. Can you say
totally, mate? I was called a xenophobe and a racist. No joke. The day before he was appointed manager on Axel, without going too far, I had to take a couple of days off work. Affected me that much. I've never been one to, as you can imagine, I've got balls, right? And genuinely, the amount of comments came because I couldn't pronounce his surname from fellow Celtic fans. I genuinely was like, he's a racist, a xenophobe. I've never been accused of stuff like that in my life. It's alien to me, that sort of thing. I was really, really low with that. And honestly, I'm like, it's not really funny. But see, if you're like not a Scrabble genius, it's not exactly the most pronounceable surname. It's not like anyone like. But that just shows you the other side to this world. And for all the times I slag the other pod, I do also believe they're under a microscope that we're definitely not. Folk are waiting for the contributors to fuck up because there is such a large audience on it. And that's as nice as I'll be about those bastards, by the way. But anyway, that's a joke. Anyway, there was a question coming in that was very important before we finish, and maybe not as important about Celtic, but Hasboy 1888 comes in. Thank you for joining the bus. He wants to know how to get Bhoycie bus tees. Well, the answer is you go to a website called fanboyfootball.com, which is at the top right hand side of the screen, and all you have to do is go on that and you will see our 3 t-shirts. Now I know it's not all about selling merchandise and that, and if you knew, I personally am paying the postage on every single one of them and went for the top material possible. So if you knew what I was making on every t-shirt, you would know this is not a ego thing, a money-making thing. It's just the buzz of folk they want part of the channel, and I love that. And I think there's a community building right now, guys. I genuinely do. And I think sometimes that can be represented in something as trivial as the t-shirt. I think sometimes you go, do you know what, I feel a bit part of it now. It's something that I watch. It's something that I spend, time watching and stuff. And yeah, that's definitely not working. But I was trying to show that like that. Anyway, it's fanboyfootball.com if you want to buy a t-shirt. Fuck knows what that was all about. Is there anything else you guys want to leave with? I'll leave the final word to a man in Canada, the punk, dark warlord himself, the man behind some of the most iconic Bhoycie bus graphics. Take it away, mate.
Oh, fuck. Tough in the league. I mean, I can't wait till next weekend. I'm buzzing for it. I think it's going to be a great day. I'm up at 4 a.m. for that game. Kickoff's at 4. So we were debating the day. Do we stay out all night and then go to the game? Or do we get up early and then just try and make a day of it, But I'm buzzing. I think we'll do them next week. And I'm looking forward to I love our 2 strikers right now. So big Chaos and then Kyogo. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me again, Russell. Appreciate it. Love being on the bus. Be a big fan. So
it's so cool you say
that.
That.
Talk to you, Phil, and Regan, wherever you are.
Oh yeah, Regan just dropped off, but then he was out and about, so he's relying on a 4G connection or whatever. So
we Robin Hood still cutting about Sherwood Forest today, so I'll check in and make sure he got home all right. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But listen, what an afternoon it's been. Again, Jonathan Boyce talks about knockout blows, the KO blow. I feel today Celtic landed the KO blow, and now all that's left is just to dish out the they say dishing out the agony, putting on the style. That's what next weekend's all about. And I believe Celtic are on the brink of doing that. I believe that will be delivered via both Georgios Giacomakis and Kyogo Furuhashi. My name's been Russell Boyce. That has been the Punked Up Warlord, Liam Greenlaw, all the way from Vancouver, and Phil McGinley for his second show of the day and his magnificent 7th. And you will be seeing more of Phil as we go. Thanks again. The comments has been so busy today as well. And do you know what? They're genuinely, I want to bring up the points because they're actually constructive, most of them, Genius. I love it. This bus only gets bigger. It's the only bus in town. We will roll into next season bigger and busier than ever. Thanks to each and every one of you. We're on the top of the league, looking down on the Rangers. Good night.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.